He vanished in 17 minutes. Introduction. At 8:43 a.m. on October 14, 2017, Grayson Clark, a 36-year-old financial analyst from Chicago, entered an underground parking garage at the corner of West Madison and Wells Streets. Cameras recorded him parking his black BMW, retrieving a leather briefcase from the trunk, and heading towards the elevator. He was supposed to be in his office on the 29th floor by 9 a.m., but he never showed up for work. 17 minutes after he entered the building, he vanished. Chapter 1. The Perfect Life. Grayson was what Chicagoans called a quiet billionaire. He grew up in a disadvantaged family but graduated with honors from the University of Illinois. He became interested in investments at an early age and owned his own hedge fund by the time he was 30. No scandals, no ostentation, no friends, just work, the market, and numbers. Neighbors remembered him as polite but distant. He had no family. No one knew what he did after 6 p.m. His day always ended the same way: work, the gym, a late dinner, and silence. Chapter 2. The Disappearance. His assistant, Sarah Martin, was the first to worry. She tried calling Grayson at 9:20 a.m., then at 9:35 a.m., and then sent a message. "Are you okay?" It remained unread. By 10:15 a.m., she reported it to security. By 10:47 a.m., the police were already reviewing security camera footage. Grayson had entered the building, but he hadn't left. Chapter 3. The labyrinth cameras captured his every movement. He entered the parking garage, walked up to the elevator, pressed the button. And then, something strange happened. After 43 seconds, the doors opened. But Grayson didn't enter. He looked at his phone, abruptly turned around, and walked deeper into the parking lot, where there were no more cameras. From that moment on, there's a blank spot. Not a single call, not a single transaction, not a single camera. It was as if he had evaporated. Chapter 4. Money and Debts. 2 days later, when the investigation began, the first oddities came to light. His fund, Clark Investments, was deeply in debt. For 3 years, Grayson had been building a complex financial pyramid scheme, masking client losses and falsifying reports. Investigators found an encrypted file on his computer. After being cracked, it revealed a list of 43 offshore accounts containing over $76 million. All of it had been withdrawn in the past 11 months. The fund's clients began filing lawsuits. One of them, Alexander Foster, a war veteran and businessman who lost $9 million, told reporters, "I knew he was smart, but I didn't know he was a fraud." Chapter 5. Apartment number 1708. On the day of his disappearance, at approximately 6:40 a.m., Grayson visited an apartment in a skyscraper on 17th Street. The apartment was rented under the name Peter Harlow, a name Grayson used for a second identity. Inside, a fake passport, a plane ticket to Buenos Aires, a large sum of cash, and, most importantly, a face mask designed to mimic another person. A downstairs neighbor reported hearing strange sounds that morning. It sounded like someone was practicing walking with a different voice. They were speaking aloud, repeating the same name, Michael. Chapter 6. The escape theory police theorized that Grayson faked his disappearance. He had the motive, the money, and the plan. Perhaps he left the parking garage through an emergency exit, disguised or even having swapped identities. Some even believed he drove out in the trunk of his own car, which was later found in an airport parking lot. Border agents confirmed that a person using Peter Harlow's passport did indeed fly to Argentina. The photo wasn't a 100% match, but it was impossible to prove forgery. Officially, he had not left the country, but in fact, he had disappeared from the radar. Chapter 7. An unexpected discovery. 11 months later, on the outskirts of La Plata, Argentina, local police discovered the body of a man with a gunshot wound to the chest. The face was unidentifiable. It had been burned. but his fingerprints identified him as Grayson Clark. A strange scene surrounded the body. On the floor lay a cut-up Peter Harlow passport, a phone with a shattered screen, a single note: "You can run from investors, but not from your conscience." Chapter 8. Truth or staging? Journalists and bloggers immediately cast doubt. Was it really him? The body was charred, the forensics questionable. And if he really stole $76 million, where was it? Not a single cent was ever found in Argentina. All accounts were empty. It was as if he deliberately burned everything to disappear completely. Some believe it was a double. Others, that he staged his own death to escape prosecution and start a new life. Still, others are convinced he was found. Someone he had cheated, and they decided that justice was too lenient. Finale Grayson Clark's story remains one of the most enigmatic in the history of U.S. financial crimes. He was both a criminal and a victim. He vanished in 17 minutes and only reappeared as a faceless corpse. The house from the outside was ordinary. Introduction. On the outskirts of Phoenix, Arizona, there's a street where all the houses are identical. The same facades, the same lawns, the same silence. But in house number 864 lived a man no one truly knew. His name was Thomas Gray, and when his house was opened after an anonymous call, the police didn't immediately understand what they were looking at. Chapter 1. The Lonely Man. Thomas was 47. He had lived in this house for 12 years. He worked as a night security guard for a logistics company. No wife, no friends, no social media. Neighbors said he was quiet, always greeted you. But he never looked you in the eye. Every morning at 7:15 a.m., he would leave the house. He'd return at 7:30 p.m., always precisely on schedule. But one Tuesday, he didn't leave, and he didn't return. And that's when the investigation began. Chapter 2. The Anonymous Call. On the third day, a strange call came into the station. A male voice whispered, "Go into house 864, in the basement. In the basement are bodies." When the police arrived and opened the door, the house was perfectly clean. Empty shelves, a sterile kitchen. It smelled of bleach. But there really were bodies in the basement. 3 of them, men. All in identical tracksuits. All with tape on their wrists and bags over their heads. All with signs of torture. No documents, no identification, and most importantly, Thomas was nowhere to be found. Chapter 3. The Psychological Profile. Investigators began to study Thomas's past, and then the first thing surfaced. He had never been a security guard. For all 12 years, he had lived under a stolen identity. In fact, his name was Michael Randall, and in 2003, he disappeared from the FBI database. Before 2003, he served in Afghanistan. Afterward, he vanished. A psychologist who studied his behavior said, this wasn't a person with a disorder. This was a person with a plan. Chapter 4. The Room Behind the Wall. A search of the house revealed a hidden room. The entrance was behind the washing machine. Inside, walls lined with soundproofing, a camera, a laptop without internet, and dozens of folders with names, addresses, and photos. Almost all were men with criminal records. Each dossier had a date, tracking date, contact date, and disappearance date. The police realized all 3 bodies in the basement were from this list. But why? Chapter 5. Michael Randall was creating his own tribunal. He tracked people he considered criminals, gathered evidence, and passed judgment. Himself. A neighbor recounted, "I once heard screams coming from the house, but I thought it was the TV." He always had the volume loud. Experts determined the cameras in the secret room were used to record confessions. One of the murdered men on a recording said, "Yes, I did it. "But who are you to judge me?" Michael's answer was cold. "I'm the one who survived all of this." Chapter 6. Who he really is. After extensive checks, it turned out, Michael was a military investigator. His unit died near Mindanao. He was the sole survivor. It was said that after the explosion, he walked for 3 days through the desert, carrying the body of his comrade. Upon returning to the US, he tried to recover but was discharged. They said, psychologically unstable. He disappeared. And from that day on, he began a new life, under a different name. A life where he became a quiet executioner. Chapter 7. The Disappearance. Michael was sought for over a year. Not a single transaction, no cameras, no signals. He seemed to know how to disappear properly. Some are sure he went to South America. Others believe he's long dead. But 14 months later, an envelope arrived at the FBI office in Los Angeles. No return address. Inside, a USB drive. On it, a new video. Finale. The right to judgment on screen. A new man, tied to a chair. The camera shakes. Off screen, Michael's voice. "You raped girls, and the law gave you 5 years. 5 years for ruined lives. Tell me, do you think that's fair?" The man sobs, repeats, "I'm sorry." Then, silence. Michael, "I am not God. I am not the court. But while those who should be punishing are asleep, I will not be silent." The video ends. On screen, coordinates. The police found another house at those coordinates. In the basement, a new body. The story of Michael Randall is still officially open. He became a ghost and a symbol of what happens when justice retreats into the shadows. He was alone, but his fear was known to all who had done evil in the past.